strong enough capacity to begin to embark on this GDP rebasing. I've often said that capturing and measuring that data better is critical for policy making. Countries all over the world invest in making a better statistical system. And in Nigeria, we've acknowledged that we need to invest more, and we've begun that investment. We've also asked our partners to support us in that investment because we know that better data makes for better policy. Without good data, it's very difficult for policymakers to assess what development challenges need to be tackled. When the data is not adequate, the policymaker is left to operate in the dark or simply to do guesswork. And I think when you see the results, you see we've been doing reasonably good guesswork. But we can do better than that. And we don't want to risk solving the wrong problems because we don't have adequate information or statistics, or solving problems in the wrong way. That's why this rebasing is so important. If you follow the news for the US, the Eurozone, or other developed economies, you will see that they always wait for new quarterly data to be released on GDP growth, on jobs, on home ownership, before they start announcing the next set of fiscal or monetary policies. So we're working to ensure that we follow best practice worldwide, and we're getting there now to be able to get the kind of statistics and measure what needs to be measured in order to help us support policy formulation. Good and reliable data is also important because it makes it possible for us to look back and review our performance periodically. This is important whether we are looking at GDP growth rates or whether we want to look at the effectiveness of maternal and child health programs or the impact of our job creation programs across the country. Good data can inform us how to modify programs if necessary, or how to better target interventions to achieve the desired impact. The release of the GDP numbers today is only one part of this bigger push to improve Nigeria's statistics. Apart from this GDP rebasing exercise, the MBS will also conduct additional surveys on agriculture, on poverty, on job creation, and on our social statistics, health and education for the future. And where changes need to be made, we should not be afraid, whatever the result, to make those changes and come up with what the true picture is for the country. We also want to make sure that we collect this data regularly so we don't fall behind in updating our records. I will come back again after the Statistician General's presentation to provide a few thoughts on policy implications of the rebased GDP numbers and how this will better inform government policies. A number of observations have come to light in the data that we have, particularly on the need to revamp and recalibrate our social statistics, just like I said. When you look at all the information we've provided, and I'm very proud to say that we've prepared rigorously to support this announcement. So you will find that there are several pieces of information that will be handed out. There's a Q&A that goes into all the questions that you, particularly in the press, might have. There is a press release, I believe, that will be also given out to you. And there's a methodology piece done by the Statistician General and his staff that will inform you just how this was done. Even in the Q&A, if you look at it, you get a good idea of how that was done. So there's quite a bit of information to hand out. So let me stop there. And again, thank you very much for coming. And we will now call on the Supervising National Planning to make a few remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, CME. And thank you for recognizing the efforts that I have put in personally as Supervising Minister for National Planning. I couldn't have done it alone, so I also want on your behalf and on my behalf, to recognize the good support I'm getting from my staffs, starting with the Secretary of the Commission. Please, can you stand up also for recognition? Thank you very much. Honorable ministers here with us, our good friends, the development partners, the members of the EMIT here with us, Statistician General, who will be our focus for today, gentlemen of the press. Let me welcome you again to this great day, great occasion for our country and for the government of President Goodluck Jonathan. We are witnessing the historic rebasing of our GDP, which was not done, just like the CME has said, for more than 2 decades. Now, we need to rebase our economy for very many obvious reasons. One, it gives us a guide as a country. It gives us detail of our structure of the economy. It also gives us leverage as a government to plan well and to plan ahead. We look at the various sectors of the economy. We look at the parameters. We also look at areas that we believe policies should be guided in order to get the right metrics for our economy. We also need data for us to be able to track the performance of each and every one of our MDAs. And in the process of doing that, we in the National Planning Commission, Mr. President directed, and we developed performance metrics for our ministers. But we need data in order for us to effectively monitor and evaluate what the ministers are doing. Not only the ministers, but also all the MDAs. And in National Planning Commission, we have developed a robust system of monitoring and evaluation, and it is on the basis of that that the ministers are now working on the key performance indicators. This is what we call KPIs. And we thank Mr. President for putting this in place for the first time in Nigeria, because it is all part of the transformation agenda of Mr. President, which is governance, human capital development, and infrastructure. So under governance, that's what we are doing, to keep tab and monitor the performance of the various MDAs. We are proud of the work that the National Bureau of Statistics have done, and we congratulate the Statistician General for doing this. We started in 2011 before getting this far. It has been a very robust participation of all the key stakeholders, a lot of field work. We have also engaged the services and the support of our development partners. We have worked closely with the IMF. We have worked closely with African Development Bank. We've also worked closely with the World Bank. We want to strongly recognize the support you have given us. We have also subjected all that we have done to our esteemed economists in the country. We know that they have been on ground. Some of them have institutional memory of what transpired during the last rebasing exercise, which was in 1990. And we're very proud of their contribution also, and we really appreciate that. We will have details of the methodology that was adopted. It was done to the best international practice, but of course taken into cognizance the peculiar nature of Nigeria. But the best methodology was adopted, and I believe the Statistician General will give details of that. Again, not only